Obstacles, partly I mentioned one, criminalizing a certain group of population, like the key population, sex workers, people who use and inject drugs, MSM, transgender. So it's very critical that we don't leave one behind. By the way, that is the core principle of the Sustainable Development Agenda, that leave no one behind, no matter who they are, where they are. So they need to have access to services. So that is one. So how do we really create that enabling environment so that people can go out there and then access services without fear, without being discriminated? I think that is one critical. And also addressing some of the structural barriers that I alluded to it earlier. The sexual gender-based violence, again, very high. We have seen from the demographic health survey report, which is at almost 13%, the teenage pregnancy 15%. So it's very critical that we look at what are the limiting factors so that Kenya is able to achieve its target. Again, by 2027, we are not far from, so 2 or 3 years. I think these are some of the issues that we are looking at, but also the investment that is required, because if we don't have the necessary investment from domestic resource, we cannot rely all the time, right, on external support. Of course, our partners are there, but it's very important to start thinking how can we have a sustainable transition so that countries like Kenya with a better income category can take over, because we have examples in South Africa, in Namibia, and in other African countries that are putting more resources to indeed lead on and sustain the response.
How about Africa?
Yeah, that's Africa again. Africa, that's why I mentioned Namibia, South Africa, Botswana, some of the countries who have now started. But again, Kenya, I think, is well positioned, especially with what we have launched last week during the Mashujaa Day. I think is promising that indeed Kenya is also ready now to put more domestic resources into the response so that the gains that have been made can be sustained. And we see the end of AIDS, like a number of pandemics have been eradicated in the past. So it's a matter of really all of us coming together, focusing on using data, using science solution, and then addressing where we have major gaps.